We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. I'm Gabe Johansson. I'm here today with Trevor Howard, Mike Nuss, and Dane McKinney. We are excited to record this episode for you. We have no idea what we're going to talk about. Trevor has some ideas up his sleeve. First, we have a disclaimer we want to make is that this is not filmed live, and don't do anything we say to do. We're not attorneys. Go seek legal counsel and some other bullshit in there. Yeah.
And unless Mike Nuss says it, then it's all true and do whatever he says.
Mike is an attorney, and you can take his advice as true legal advice.
Mm-hmm. I thought the first 5 seconds of that, I thought, should we create this disclaimer and put it on all of our past episodes as well? Or you guys really just...
I think our intro should just be the disclaimer. With all of us laughing.
We need Kobe to clip that.
Don't do what we're talking about. Welcome to Deal Junkies.
Oh, man.
All right.
And so we're not even talking about a deal today, are we?
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about
we will talk about deals. There's no way we won't talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, so today, for everyone listening, we had a special guest that was coming in. Last minute, they couldn't come in, so we had to make some topics up on the spot. Today, I want to talk to you about if there's a deal too small to buy, because we're trying to think as we're forming some of these entities, if we should do or not do some of these deals. Talk about question. NAR commissions, and then mine and Dane's plan that Dane doesn't know about to make $1 million that I think you're going to hate and tell us to not do.
You think I'm going to hate it?
Yeah, I already know you're going to hate it.
Am I going to hate it?
I'll follow up.
I think you might like it.
Okay.
I think you should definitely do it if I'm going to hate it.
Yeah.
It'd be a good learning.
Should we just bet on it right now?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. $1.
You're going to tell me not to do it, and you're going to give me a different plan, but
Mike's going to tell you to do it.
I bet you'll like...
No, I'm betting $5 right now. You get approval from Gabe.
Oh, wow.
I think I may because of time frames. I'm trying to do it within a year.
Fair.
But anyway, I think we should start with NAR commissions.
Oh, God.
So NAR, what's NAR?
National Association of Realtors.
The National Association of Realtors.
Does this mean I get to pay less as a seller?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
and
yes.
prices are going to...
Is that what it means?
So it's going to save you so much money.
I don't have the best understanding of this. Probably Mike.
Is this how I should look at it now? Okay, I'm checked in finally. Let's go.
If someone wants to explain what's happening with it between Mike and Gabe, probably.
Let Mike go first, and then I'll chime in, unless you want me to go first.
Okay. I never look at things in a short-term time frame, so I've never thought of this in a short-term time. Like, I literally just thought, do I get to save money as a seller? I think in the end, it just washes out. Eventually... This is really good for the industry.
Give the high level, though.
Let's talk about what...
I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Dane.
The wrong person to ask.
You want to tell us what's happening with NAR?
Gabe, I think you should.
Okay.
Yeah. You're most...
Well, okay. So this has been going on
So do you. You should know, too.
Yeah.
But I own a brokerage. I'm not a broker.
Yeah. There's a difference.
A huge difference.
That's how Mike's going to make his $1 million. Okay, so I don't have all the finer details.
Wait, did you say I'm going to make $1 million owning a brokerage? That's the best joke of the day.
Well, it's got to be a real
Sorry.
one. Okay. So, Dane, correct me if I'm wrong, but NAR, so National Association of Realtors, it's an association. It has over 1 million members nationwide. Each chapter, there's a state chapter, local chapter. Anyway, as brokers... it's sort of I see it as sort of a monopoly. So the realtor associations own the majority of the MLS sites. And so you know, it's typically, if you're going to buy and sell homes specifically, you're going to be on an MLS site, and it's owned by Realtor. So my battle with Realtor goes back probably 7 or 8 years. And what I had contention with them over was I wanted to be a member, but I didn't want to force all of our brokers to be members. And so for a period of time, they allowed that. And so we have commercial and residential brokers, and our commercial brokers just didn't see the value in being members of Realtor. And I said, well, I don't want to force everybody to join if there's no value. And so that went on. There was, for a couple of years, they tried to get me to join. Finally, I said, if you'll do that, I'll join. And we did. And then a couple years into it, they changed their mind and they said, no, everybody's got to be a member. And so today our brokerage is 100% realtor. Part of that, so when you think about value, and you were to choose an association to join, what do they offer you? Software? Do they offer you education? Do they offer the lobbyists and all these things that they probably do offer? I don't know if they do a great job of selling that, but the way they get everybody to sign up, and it's about $700 a year to be a member of all chapters, is they say, well, you cannot put your listing in MLS unless you're a member. So here's where it starts. We're a monopoly. We own all of the means to advertise your properties. And if you want to be in this business, you're going to pay us $700 a year. Mm-hmm. Now, that's probably the wrong way to look at it, because they do offer some value and they have a lot of resources and tools that I think that some brokers really utilize, and they probably get more than $700 worth of value for what they spend. But for those who don't use anything realtor and don't care about MLS like a commercial broker, mm-hmm. It's just not quite as valuable. So herein lies the problem. You do have a monopoly. There is no competition. And so then they set forth rules on how brokers should conduct themselves and charge fees. And in that, if you're going to list a property, you bake into your listing how much, if there's a co-op fee and you're going to actually pay your listing broker and the buyer's broker, you have to bake that into your listing agreement. And so it's not necessarily a rule. It's not an NAR rule that everybody has to charge 6% and split 50-50, but that's just kind of the general theme that everybody has followed.
Wait, I thought it was 7%. And now we're breaking laws talking commission splits on
prior to
we
now.
shouldn't do that.
Mike Nuss pays 7%. Okay, we'll get back to that. I have a point about that actually. Go ahead.
Prior to now, you had to put in some dollar amount for the buyer's fee, whether it be $1 or whatever percentage, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could check a box for dual variable commission, which means that you're making more than the other broker, or it's based on sometimes a seller will say, I'll pay you the 6%, but it's only up to the first $500,000, and then after that
it's all been negotiable.
It's always been negotiable. Here's the rub, is that the seller pays for it. And so if you go back in time, when a buyer's looking for representation, if we're selling a $400,000 house and I'm the broker and I come to my buyer and I say, hey, you want to buy your first home? It's $400,000. I would like to make $12,000. I'd like to make 3% representing you. My buyer doesn't have the $12,000 on top of their closing costs and everything, right? So then I have to go write an offer and say, well, instead of $400,000, we want to pay $412,000. And we want to bake my commission into that. Then I've got to get it to appraise and so on and so forth and try to include all the other fees. So to make things simpler, the seller, we bake that in because the seller's going to get the proceeds at closing, and the seller pays that out of the commission. They know when they're looking at their price after commissions, this is what I'm netting. This is what I want to net. And that's the way every listing broker should work through. I mean, first off, you don't really let the seller set the price anyway. If you're a good broker, you're telling them this is where we need to go. We might be able to aim a little higher, a little lower, but this is kind of where we need to land, right? And so, okay, so I'm selling this house, and I bake in there that I want to pay a buyer's broker. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, is there a problem with that? Like, in my mind, I'm a seller, mm-hmm. and I want somebody. I have a listing broker. Their job's to take beautiful pictures, help me stage it, get it out to the market, do showings, do open houses. Mike's got something to say.
Well, yeah, I think there's a good point. Like, as boring of a topic and conversation this is, Gabe just gave the best background of how it was started, mm-hmm. and then how we've come to where we're at in the marketplace now. And it started in 1908. That's what I looked up. I thought it was in the 20s, but NAR started in 1908. It's the NAR, the teachers union, one other union I was thinking of. They're literally the strongest labor unions out there. Mm-hmm. NAR just isn't a union. They call mm-hmm. it the NAR, and it's controlled by data. And that's how they get there. But now we're in a place where market value is dependent on these fees stacking on the seller settlement statement.
Well, and to your point about 1908, in 1908, we didn't have state agency.
Right.
We didn't have the real estate agency. And so it was the Wild West. People were running around and they were transacting and brokering deals, and people were getting taken advantage of. And so a group of brokers came along and said, let's form this association. Let's come up with a code of ethics and let's follow that. And we'll all swear to God that we'll follow these things. It's a good thing. It's from over 100 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we have agency that tells us you have to follow these rules or we'll take your license away, because now we have to be licensed, right? And so now it's just 100-and-something-year-old company that's been around for a long time. They have a lot of power, but they don't necessarily, in my view, have a whole lot of worth other than from a political side, they are lobbying.
Yes.
Do you want to give now where we're at now and kind of what's going on, and then we can dive into what it means?
So what ends up happening is, so we're arguing about who pays commissions. So if a seller's paying the commission, the argument is, well, why would the seller pay a commission? It's like you're hiring an attorney. If I'm getting divorced, why would I want to go pay my wife's attorney to divorce me, right? So I want to have representation, and I pay for my representation. I want the buyer to have their own representation. I don't want to pay for that buyer representation. The argument is that the sellers are getting screwed. My viewpoint is it's just the opposite, because really what the seller is doing is they're promoting the buyer's rep to get them the highest offer possible and get the freaking deal closed so they can get paid. The seller, it's in their very best interest to pay a co-op fee to a buyer's broker, because the buyer broker now is sort of working for you. So now who gets screwed? Well, the buyer technically is paying maybe a little more for the home because everybody just goes,
and one strategy is offer a higher BAC. So what Trevor said in the residential side, you have to say what you're offering to the buyer, the commission. So before they make an offer, they know what they're getting paid. So standard's 2.5 here, 2.75, 3% BAC. And then you not only say that in the little spot, the first comment's 3% BAC.
So, it becomes a selling feature.
Exactly.
Buyer agent commission.
Because there's more value to a buyer's agent than a listing agent.
Give more context though on where we're at now, like with the lawsuits.
Okay, so there becomes a class action lawsuit, and I believe that out of all of this, there was a lawsuit for about $1.45 billion or something. Big lawsuit. This comes out of Missouri, kind of a smaller court system. It comes through and they win, right? And so then it goes to the appeals courts and all the other court systems. And so this has not flushed through the rest of the United States. This is literally all just a class action lawsuit based on this one court ruling out of Missouri. So this has been going on now for a number of years. And I don't know if it was post-COVID or when it all really started. But anyway, yesterday, so today's March 19th, 2024. Yesterday, they announced breaking news. NAR is going to settle this lawsuit for somewhere around $500 million. It's like $480-some million are going to settle this. Everybody freaks out. Okay, they're claiming no wrongdoing, but we're going to give you $500 million. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, it means really what it means is we're saying, yes, we did make a mistake and we shouldn't have forced brokers into this agreement where the seller was forced to pay a buyer's commission. So what happens out of all that? They'll come up with a new form. A buyer's agent will have to sign an agreement that says they're going to get paid. The buyers are not going to have the money to pay the buyer's broker. And so they're going to have to bake it into the deal, just like your closing costs. I don't have the appraisal fee. I don't have the loan fee. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have the broker fee, right? And so now it gets lumped into all your fees, and there will be some other form. And the amazing thing to me is if you look at our PSA, our purchase and sale agreement, going back not even that long ago, just a few years ago, our commissions used to be baked into the contract. It was very clear. Here's what I'm paying for the property. Here's my earnest money. Here's my inspection deadline. Here's my closing date. Here's my broker commission. Everything's in there in one, very transparent. Somewhere along the way, they said, no, you can't let a commission become part of the negotiation. Okay, well, isn't that what we're talking about making happen right now? Yes. We're talking about bringing commissions back in to the negotiation.
Thank you.
Just by taking it off of the contract, what does that do? So now what will we have? Instead of having that page on the contract, you'll have some other disclosure that goes along with your 80 other disclosures that'll say, by the way, the buyer's paying me X amount. That money's going to come out of the sale because we're going to pay X amount more for the property to get to that number so there can be buyer's brokers. Either that or all the buyer's agents just go like, oh, I can't get paid. And we have a deal right now. As a matter of fact, I think it might be yours.
It's mine.
Dane. Yeah, good job. So
Okay, let me clarify. After you tell the story, I'll finish the story.
Okay, so here's what happens. And one of the reasons I'm not too worried about this is the same way we do commercial deals. This has been going on now for a number of years in the commercial world, especially when listings became very sparse and a listing broker knew, hey, there's no deals out there. I can put this out there with no co-op fee and I can just sell this thing, double end it, or to say I'm taking the full commission. If a buyer comes and they have their own broker, they can pay that broker, right? That's been happening in commercial for years now, for last several years. And so in a commercial deal, the first question we ask is it still available? Well, the first question we ask is, will they carry? The second question is it still available? And will you co-op a fee? Marcus and Millichap, probably the biggest brokerage on planet Earth, they, I think, sort of started this trend where they decided not to co-op fees, and they've changed a little bit as the market has shifted. But when things were super tight and they had a listing, it was just like, nope, we're getting paid this, and if you want to get paid, go find your own commission. It's not baked into this deal. And so it was kind of a punch in the nose, but everybody got used to it and says, okay, well, is there a co-op fee or is there not a co-op fee? And now what ends up happening is you just have to lay out the rules of engagement before you do a deal. I'm bringing you an offer. Is there a co-op fee? No. Okay. Well, I want to make this. Okay. Well, then you just got to figure out how to bake that in. So I think to some of the newer brokers that are out there, a new broker typically is a buyer's agent because they don't have the listings. They don't have the book of business yet to fall on that. So they go out and they try to broker whatever they can, repping buyers, driving around town. It's not an easy job, by the way. I mean, repping buyers and driving around and showing dozens of houses and writing offers and fighting over deals. And
with absolutely no control over the final decision.
It's a hard job to do. They deserve to get paid. And what the amount that they get paid is not an astronomical amount. Somebody made a point to me, and we were talking about this yesterday, that, a few years ago when a house was a couple $100,000, well, a 6% fee wasn't all that much, but now that a house is $400,000, now a fee is twice as much. Well, guess what? Like everything is twice as much, except for real estate. Residential real estate has gone up in value at 2.4 times the rate of inflation over the last couple of decades. So commission. So you're making. So if you're working a normal day job, your wages have gone up a certain amount with inflation, and if you're working as a broker, you have outpaced inflation with your commissions, which is why you see, like you said, 2.5% is sort of the norm. That wasn't the norm before. It was always 6% split 50.
So I would also argue that their actual cost to being a broker has gone down significantly. So that 2.6 is really like a 10 or 20x when you figure now the technology, you can do 10 times the amount of deals you could have done before, digital photos and email and PDFs. And
broker splits have changed.
Yep.
There's low splits and things like that. But
do we get off topic?
No. I just, there's confusion on my end as to like, why do we not think that the market has just accounted for all of this already?
It has.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, why are we acting like...
So we can dude, can I just say, I love this fucking podcast because of Gabe. Just the most boring topic ever. I've said this in so many times, it's a commercial mindset versus a residential mindset. He thinks like everything needs to be is a commercial mindset, but residential is like this protected little class. 80% of real estate is in residential, and it's the loudest. They're the whiniest. They are protected, and it's just a stacking of fees. This process sucks. So the settlement says everything in the past doesn't matter. Everything going forward, we're going to have new systems for, but everything in escrow, like Dane was working on right now, is in this transition period. And so in the next year, 2, 3, 5, however many it's going to take, the decoupling of fees, because we're now understand values based on all these fees stacked on the seller side of the settlement statement. You're going to uncouple those fees, or you're going to still stack them there. It's just a way
and it's better for good buyer's agents.
And so here's my take on it. As a seller, you all have listing agent really has the secret sauce. They may do something a little bit better, but it's the buyer's agent that convinces them to write the price they write, and that's what matters the most. I am happy to just start working with buyer's agents. So as a seller, and I've always looked at this as the buyers are the most valuable part of the component.
And that's what I wanted to say when you talked about a 7% commission is the first place my mind went when I thought about sellers going out and saying, we're not paying a buyer's broker. I thought, I'm doubling down. Look at, I'll pay 5% buyer commission. So I think that it depends on your mindset and what kind of deal you're doing and what value you see. I think the argument is, if you look at the way the attorneys draft their arguments in this case, is they really go down this rabbit hole of brokers are pieces of shit. They don't know what they're doing. 80% of them shouldn't even have a license, and they're out there making ridiculous amounts of money, representing people they have no business representing. That's the tone. The tone is brokers do not have value. And to Dane's point, wouldn't the market settle this? If brokers had no value, why are there still brokers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those brokers that are out there, and there are 80% of the brokers, I would agree, are not the top shelf brokers, but still.
Okay. I don't use brokers. I own a brokerage. I use brokers, employees. What brokers have, it's all value. Their value is relative. Brokers don't have a lot of value to me and my overall business other than the deals they bring. I'm going somewhere. I spend a lot of fucking money to have the ecosystem that I have. That's why the value of a broker is less to me, because I spend money. So that money's being spent. It's just not going directly to that broker. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You're a real estate professional.
Yes.
That's your, on your tax return,
Correct.
it says my job is real estate.
And the majority of buyers are not real estate professionals. And they need to have a professional involved to understand the process to get stuff done. Even a lot of your clients, probably not real estate professionals. They're wealthy individuals, and so they buy investment income, but they're not professionals at buying.
Yeah, they call me and they go, I'm not buying this deal unless Gabe says I should buy this deal. Yeah. Okay, well, that has a value, right? You want my eyes on it. Like, I don't do that for free. I'm a broker for a reason.
Yeah. Can I tell you why I'm excited?
Yeah. He's been so quiet. This is the $1 million idea.
It's going to bring more deals?
No, this isn't. So yeah, I'm really excited about this because for the brokers who are actually good at it, your value just went, I think your value went up a lot, and there's less brokers.
Can I say before you get into this, one really cocky listing agent in Portland is just bragging about how this is, this is not good for the listing agents that just have a corner on the market, because that value has gone away.
I think a seller can just go pay $500 and slap their home on the MLS with some nice photos.
Pay a Redfin agent.
This hurts listing agents more than they know.
So what? Because we specialize in investments, so like we're advisors. Like we do all the paperwork and the brokering. We're basically, but our value is the advising and the investment knowledge. I'm excited for that reason. But I'm more excited for getting more creative on deals because it's more negotiable now.
Yeah.
So as brokers, we can use our fees as down payments, which I really want to do a 20% fee for my down payment.
We are not doing this on any live deals.
Remember, everything we say,
but it's all made up.
It's all bullshit. We don't do any of this.
Wait, I got it. Can I text someone to tell them don't hit send on that offer?
Now, you could have done a 20% commission before.
I think it gets easier though, because now it's just like, no, you can't set the commissions. That's just what it is.
This is a thing we have to talk about now. Yeah, before. That's why I didn't even know there wasn't a buyer's agent commission on that deal. Also, it's in probate, and it was never supposed to hit the market because the guys who were buying
it was it off market?
It was off market.
The decoupling takes the mystery out of it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and this is why I go back to where it was before, where we had a contract. By the way, my commercial contract, it's from 1997. It's a commercial association of brokers form, and on the last page, it has brokers' commissions on it. There's no secret. This is what we want to get paid. And by the way, if you don't want to pay the other guy, I'm going to split it with them. Here's how much we're going to get paid as brokers, and here's how we're going to split it. It's all on there, fully transparent.
Right.
That used to be how residential contracts read.
I know.
And now we're going back to it because it didn't work to try to say like, oh, a commission cannot be part of a deal.
Because,
I think we should keep the price of wood out of the deal.
Well, everything. So
that's what it costs to transact a house.
the value of the NAR has been going down since the mid 90s. So the technological advances have reduced their value from the data standpoint. And so how do you then retain your power? You add mystery.
Oh.
So they create now our paperwork adds mystery to the process. Now you need them. You need our listing system. Because you need our listing system, you have to use our paperwork. It just extended their life frame.
New MLSs are popping up already. Yeah. There's already a group out in New York that started one, and
we've been having this conversation for at least 15 years.
Well, I think what it'll do on a larger, and Trevor's got something he wants to say, but I think on a larger scale, what'll happen is, I think Realtor will lose its monopoly. I think that's what will happen.
Yes, that's amazing,
and I like it. I like that.
More data. I like, there's some barriers. Shit, do we want data to be cheaper? Like, data's our oh, fuck.
Good data's always going to be expensive.
I always got to balance morals for my greed.
I had an offer I wanted to give you that I thought would be really good, but I'm actually going to save it for myself. So I'm going to skip over that. I'll tell you guys later. But we should move on to other topics too, unless you got any final.
No, I mean, I think we beat the horse. We'll have to wait and see how this shakes out. At the end of the day, it'll all work out however it's supposed to work out. I don't think this is the big change that everybody really thinks it is. I'm
excited.
I think that
you should have excitement for the opportunity.
No question.
For brokers like you and people who are experienced and have been around this for a while, I think that any change like this presents a ton of opportunity to come in and seize more business, make more money, charge more fees, do whatever you're going to do. I think it opens that door.
Especially if, and that's the best part, is because listing agents have been pawning the work and the value off to newbies all along, and they're going to have to relearn how to be valuable as a buyer.
Okay, let me tell you my idea.
God, I love this. I'm so glad we had this 26-minute conversation on something I hate.
Before you say the idea, I want to just quote one thing I read in CNBC yesterday about this. I can't even believe they let people with this IQ level write articles for CNBC. It says that because of this change, that a bunch of brokers are going to get out of the business. And because of that,
values are going to go down.
Fees are going to go down, and values are going to go down. I'm like, okay, you've got to be kidding me.
What?
So you have less competition, and okay, so this goes back to what I always say is when the government tries to help a group of people, what do? Yeah. They hurt that very specific group of people, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. Whichever group it is they're targeting that they're going to come save now is the group that's going to get hurt.
Oh, so true.
Just the opposite is going to happen. Less brokers doesn't mean lower fees. Less brokers means higher fees.
Yes.
It's supply and demand. It's competition.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's the source? Because I literally just said, okay.
It's on CNBC.
Yes. Values coming down, smiley face, LOL, whose weak ego came up with that statement? Because that is the dumbest thing I've heard out of all of this.
It's nuts.
It trickles down to CNBC. That makes sense.
So I think the offer a brokerage could make, because when it starts, right, buyers agents are going to have to take dollars for fees because they're not going to think of other ways to do it if they can't figure out how to bake it in.
So did this all start because of that fucking article?
No. We were just had to come up with some ideas because our guest got sick.
No, I just mean all the chaos. Sorry. I'm just processing in real time, and
so I think what you could do as a broker who's just slamming people in houses that don't have money because they can't come up with $12,000, and we don't want to do this, but I think it would work, is you just finance their fees for them on the front end, and you could do a lot of business really
and you sign
fast.
A retainer on the front end,
and then you just slap in second on the house or something like that. And you can offer zero down real estate and finance it in. And I think you can make a bunch of money doing that, but then you have to, it costs way more, right? Depending on how you amortize it.
Is that a new form of gator lending?
No, we're not.
Let's not talking about that.
It's a new form of predatory.
Is that your $1 million idea?
No, that's not my $1 million idea.
Okay, good.
Okay.
No, my $1 million idea, you're going to shit on.
That's
way
one of his $1 million ideas, Gabe.
I want to know who's going to track these people down when they don't make their payment.
That's why you put it in second.
Payday lender.
Oh, yeah.
You sell them the house, and then you can take their house back.
And second position is so good because all you have to do is go pay off their first, and then you get your $12,000 back. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, we could do it, but
Chad owns a company that does that. I don't know why.
All right. So I want to talk about, is there a deal too small to buy? So I want to talk about this because we're working on forming this new partnership we're doing with you, where we're trying to buy deals, have a plan, and do that with us and Mark there and some others. Is there deals that aren't worth the time with that many people? And how do you determine that? Because you like to buy all the deals.
Yeah, I do. And I also buy in a lot of different partnerships. So there's some partnerships I buy in. It makes sense to go buy a fourplex with a guy I've never partnered with before. But if I'm buying,
thank you, Jared.
Guys, yeah,
or I guess thank you, Gabe. Never mind.
No, we got to wait till that one closes. We can't talk about that one.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess maybe we could. So I think that there are deals that are too small. First off, if you were just to ask me about a deal, and I think you did this to me in a few episodes ago. We talked about should we buy 5 houses in Hermiston, and my first question is like, do you have good management out there? Like what happens out there? Are there people out there? And so on and so forth. So I think there are deals that are like, if you said, hey, Gabe, do you want to buy a duplex down the street? We can walk there right now. Heck yeah. I want to buy a duplex down the street. I mean, I just fold it into everything else. It just folds into all the other hundreds of units. If you say, do you want to buy a duplex in Coos Bay? I'm going to go, no, I don't own anything in Coos Bay.
Do you want to buy a 100% seller carry 6plex in Coos Bay for...
Well, okay. I probably...
As an example.
I would probably say yes.
Okay.
And then we would go try on management down there to see if we can buy some more units. What I wouldn't want to do is go buy a 6plex and that's all we ever own.
Yeah, so this is a...
Yeah.
Immediately he just goes to bandwidth evaluation. Right. So it's not even the deal. It's the
infrastructure.
Yeah. So it's relative. To answer your question, there's no deal too small if you're small enough for that deal. And so it's all relative. And I like to look at things by the scale of it. You go down to the smallest end of the scale. How many people did their first deal, lost 50 grand, are thankful for that? The deal wasn't too small. In fact, it was really small, big in the wrong direction. So it's all relative to where you are. And you mentioned Gabe, well, in this partnership with 8 people, dude, do you want to split 10 grand with 8 people? No. Do you want to split 100 grand with 8 people? No. Do you want to split $1 million with 8 people? Now you're talking.
So we don't want to buy this deal you're telling me? Like, cause I like buying all the deals.
Let me jet.
Money. Like we have the systems. You just get to roll it in, and
okay,
you don't because it's
here's the feedback. Gabe is not going to say no because this is the partnership, and Gabe's role in the partnership is not that he's the one who's responding to property management on a daily basis. He's going to say yes because it fits his criteria, which are it fits within my current bandwidth. His bandwidth is just you and I managing it. It fits within my current of leverage, which is that he doesn't have to put any money into it because the seller's
this is all made up.
This is all made up.
Don't listen to Dane.
Yeah. But
this is how you define a buy box for a partnership, by the way.
We've got the whole buy box. So the question isn't for him, it's for us. It's like, do we want to deal with that? Is the juice worth the squeeze for us?
So my point is, Dane thinks no. He thinks we shouldn't buy these small deals within
because you're wrong in how he's evaluating it. Because he's evaluating your bandwidth for you.
I think we say yes because the plan over time is that none of us are doing that, and we're getting an asset manager, and we're trying to acquire all the assets, and the more assets we acquire and the faster we acquire them, the sooner we can get an asset manager to take care of them.
Sure. So this takes me back to a Logan DeVos lesson, and if you haven't listened to Logan's interview, he's a brilliant real estate mind, and he taught me early on when we started talking about syndicating deals is when we look at a deal, you know, a good deal can become a great deal if you syndicate it, but a great deal can become only a good deal if you syndicate it. So there are deals that we syndicate and there are deals that we don't syndicate because they're 2 different models, and we're in the same partnership, but we may have other partners wrapped up into all that. But we look at each individual partnership, each individual strategy. And so I think what you have to do, just like we talk about, like, every rental house you buy is the seed to a portfolio. It's not you added another house, another house, another house. Each one of those houses becomes a duplex, becomes a fourplex, becomes an eightplex, maybe, unless you're Paul Curley, who will be on the show in a couple of weeks. And then you just keep it all, and you just keep buying real estate.
But he refied them, so it still was a seed.
It was a seed because that's what provided him his equity to keep going. I think that you look at your partnerships as the same way. So just like you go to your schedule of real estate and you go, I can turn each one of these buildings into a bigger building and keep going and going and going. I think you can take each partnership and you can go into a bigger and bigger and bigger. So like if you're saying buy 6 units, I might say that's not the deal for our 8-person partnership. But if we back that down to the 3 or 4 of us in this room, or maybe just 2 of us, we want to go do that deal. Maybe it's for that. Maybe it's a deal that we keep out of the bigger partnership. Now, you guys have dreams to go build some giant Blackstone thing and become $1 trillion company.
You do too.
And all that. I know, but it's more of a dream for me. For you guys, it's a reality. So when you're doing that, your focus is, okay, let's set up this umbrella, and then everything goes under that umbrella. Whereas in my mind, I keep things a little bit more fragmented. Part of that is just for my own risk tolerance. I like to be in different partnerships. I like to spread out the risk. I like to have a lot of doors scattered across multiple partnerships. It's freaking messy, and it's K1s everywhere, and it can be kind of ridiculous, to be honest. There's bank accounts everywhere. I mean, I can't keep track of a lot.
Let me pause you for a second. You don't do it for that. You do it because it's fun. It's not to avoid risk. It's because your personality wants that.
Yeah, because you're an addict.
But I would rather own 1% of this $1 trillion company you guys are talking about starting than to own 100% of what I think is my little portfolio. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to own a smaller piece of something bigger. It doesn't mean, though, that every deal is for every partnership. And to that point, I think one of the reasons why I did good brokering is because I could look at a deal and I could go, this is one I want to own, and this is one I want to broker. This is a great deal for somebody else. And you can say, okay, here's my 5 partnerships and here's my top 10 clients. Out of those 15, where does that deal fit? And sliding that deal into the right slot is part of the magic.
Okay, fair enough.
And as there's 2 things I want to point on that. As an acquisition guy, that's where I start is, am I going to buy it? No. Who is it a good buy for? And you go down that train. You go down and you have that conversation with the seller, like literally, hey.
So we have more to talk about on those.
The other thing I want to say is the seeds. I love the seeds analogy. You also have water, and the different source of capital, where the capital comes from, that's your water. And that's going to define your partnerships, what seeds you're watering with that type of, does that make sense?
Yeah.
What's interesting is you get into some partnerships and
there's no water.
There's no water. Yeah, we've all had that one. You get into others where maybe the partner's really good in this one lane. Maybe it's like our partner we develop with, but he doesn't want to just develop. He also wants to own other stuff with us, and we want him to be our partner, and we want him to be our partner in everything. But he's the guy that what he brings to the partnership mainly is development. So it's either going to be out of the ground, or it's going to be value add, or whatever that is, right? So if we're buying an asset, if we go out and we find a $10 million turnkey asset and we like the deal and we can leverage in the deal, we don't need anybody's money, we don't need anybody's time, we don't need anybody's expertise, and we can do that deal ourselves. Why would we go throw that in to a different partnership where we got to split the pie 6 other ways, right? So there's a bit of a dance that happens here that I think you got to be careful with, because we are I wish I could say this in a better way, but we are sleeping with everybody, right? Like, I mean, we are
love that
we're whores.
You don't wish you could say it in a better way.
We're dealing, like, we have partnerships, multiple partnerships, and we all have to figure out how to work together. So like Paul Curley is a great example. Paul is my number 1 client. He's also my partner. And we're trying to buy deals, and in some cases competing with deals that Paul and I are trying to buy. And we're all cool with it. We can all sit in the room and be friends, even though we're chasing the same deals, because we understand that there are plenty of deals to be done. And we understand that some deals fit better for other people. Everybody thinks, like, I've had people say to me, oh, Gabe, well, you're not going to bring me a deal because you do all the good deals. Well, first off, what I think is a good deal is probably not what you think is a good deal.
You're going to hate it.
If you look at the way I do deals, the majority of investors are going to look at the way I buy real estate, and they're going to go, I'm not into that at all.
And what they're actually telling you is you're going to buy all you're not going to, they're saying to you, you're not good enough to have more deal volume than you personally can handle. I fucking hate it when people say that to me.
And we are cherry picking, just like you said. When you look at a deal, the first thing you think of is, should I buy it?
And how much money, time, energy do you spend in having the very first pick of that? And your job should be having lots of really good first picks to the point where you're full. And that overflow is good for the people that you know.
And we can't do all the deals. And I've had deals I've taken to my clients. I say, hey, this is a great deal.
I would love to.
If you don't buy this, I'm going to buy this deal. And they're like, Gabe, you know what? You take that deal. I think that's more of a Gabe deal. I mean, we can all have these conversations. It doesn't have to be,
I do that with my staff. Literally. Leads come in. It's like, well, this would be better for Eric than it is our company. Yeah. Let him buy it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
And this goes right back to the NAR conversation.
I was going to say.
No.
It really does. No. There's no curtain. It's total transparency.
Yeah. You said that's so good. So Gabe made the comment about it being his dream, our reality.
Yeah.
Something you said.
Yeah, because it's time construct. Everything's on a time. He's just, if he was your age with what he has, that's done deal. It is beyond reality. And it's not even like, that's not even in his reality because he's looking beyond the reality. But he doesn't have the time that you have.
He's going to live forever. He just did a juice cleanse the other day.
Have you met Jan before?
Oh, boy.
Do I need to meet Jan?
You should meet Jan.
Okay.
You've got a lot of worms.
This morning, she took me off beef. I can't eat red meat anymore.
There's a lot of worms in it.
No, it's not about.
I think that's why she told me to not eat beef. I don't know.
Okay, no, I'm not ready to meet Jan.
No, you're not. Well, maybe you are.
I did move. My environment is now not against me. My environment is for my health, not against my health.
It's time. I mean, time and return.
Yes, the time construct.
So, what is time? You have to live long enough to realize all these gains that we're talking about.
Is that what you mean when you say our reality and your dream? That's not, I don't think that's what you meant by that.
I think just I can only think so big, and I don't want to be a pretender. I can think pretty big, but I can't think as big as maybe you guys can. So I'm challenging you to think bigger than I think, and you're challenging me to think bigger than I think already. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting on a podcast right now if it weren't for you guys, and I think this has a tremendous value to us and our listeners. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
maybe just to the listener.
You guys. So this is very much like when Mike interviewed me and Trevor and Paul on stage a couple of months ago at the SRE meetup. And you can see how that knowledge passes down, from one person to the next. But Paul looks at me and he goes, you're going to go so much further than I did because you have information that I didn't have at your age. I look at you and I say the same thing. You're going to go so much further than I can because I'm not going to have, well, I mean, we could all go, get in a car crash today or something and then we don't get there. But if we all live to be our full life expectancy, like I said on stage, I think that out of Paul and myself and you're the most likely, Trevor's the most likely to become a billionaire just based on time and the knowledge that he has at 27 years old. Now, Paul's worth $200 million and he's 74. He'll probably also be a billionaire, but his chances are maybe less than yours, even though he's a lot closer than you are to being a billionaire. Mm-hmm. He's got less time on this earth. He'll be around hopefully for another 20, 30 years, but who knows, right? So if he is around another 20 years, I guarantee you he'll be a billionaire and he will have done it just by, running around and buying a bunch of shitty apartment units. And that's just, the game can be played that way if you live long enough. I think the goal for us, and maybe just for me specifically, is I want to keep playing the game and I want to be 100 years old going, yeah, I did it. But also I want to be like at 48 years old today, I want to be a young 48. I want to be healthy. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy my wife. I want to travel. I want to do the things that life has to offer and not get to be 90 years old and skip all those things and then go like, oh, now I'm old and frail. And, even if I could, I don't really want to go see anything anymore, but I'm a billionaire. Yeah.
Good thing you have all the money to do whatever you want.
The hockey stick travel, like we never talk about life after the hockey stick growth. That's what we're talking about. And this is what I'm at a unique advantage where I've been in real estate for more than half my life. So I see people like Gabe. You get to a point where the edge is taken off. Real estate hasn't taken the edge off you guys yet. Your personalities are not, and I've said this forever, real estate rubs out the corners of your personality. And you get to a point where you've accumulated enough and it isn't about accumulation anymore. It isn't about you anymore. It's about your relationships and how are you building those things. And so you get to your hockey stick and you're just like, And it's not complacency. It's not content. It's just your goals change, your vision change, your dreams change, your reality is different. And your guys' hockey stick is starting sooner and steeper than Gabe's. And Gabe started sooner and steeper than Paul's. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so that's why you're just in a different kind.
I hope it is contentment. I hope that is.
There will be.
Yeah. Content's great. Complacency shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be a day where another $10 million won't make any difference in your life.
Mhm.
It's just a number on a piece of paper. And then it's like, so we are deal junkies. And so, yes, Paul's 74 and we're still out buying deals.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we joke around that when we're laying in our hospital bed on our deathbed, like somebody's going to be handing us an iPad and we're going to be docu-signing a closing statement because that's what we want to do. We want to keep buying deals, but it's not because, like Mike's talking about, the edge. It's not necessarily because I'm in this fight for survival and I'm trying to make it. It's just because I love doing it and I want to see how much we can do. I want to see what I want to do is I want to do the biggest thing we can possibly do while we're here. And I don't want to be the brake pedal. I never want to be the one who says, nope, that's enough. Let's hold it back. But Paul got to a certain point and he was sort of plateauing like Mike's talking about. And I came along and I lit a fire under him because I went to Paul and I said, I want to be the next Paul Curley. And then Paul all of a sudden had to start looking in the mirror and going, who is Paul Curley and why do I do what I do? And next thing you know, Paul went from being worth 17 million to being worth 200 million, right? And so then I'm trying to do the same thing Paul's doing, and Trevor comes along. And Trevor starts asking me a million questions, and then I have to look in the mirror and go, why do I do what I do? And it challenges me. So you guys come to me with deals. Like I don't even go look for deals anymore. Everybody just brings the deals, and they go, Gabe, do you want to do this deal? Yeah, of course I want to do the deal. You guys found the deal. You want to do the deal. Let's go do the deal. But like, if I didn't do the deal, my day is still going to be great. Right. I make plenty of money. I have plenty of real estate. My life is good. Health is good. And that's the important thing is I just think that you don't, like Mike said, you don't want to trade in the wealth. You don't want to trade in your health for your wealth. Like, laying in a hospital bed, with cancer or something like that, and you're on your last leg. I mean, like, how many more millions do you need at that point? Like, I mean, at that point, you would trade everything, every single dollar, every business and every building just to have another few weeks of not feeling like shit and going outside again and walking with your own two legs. And I mean, there's just something to be said for there are things a lot more valuable than money. Money is a great tool. It's a lot of fun. We're blessed to be in a business where you can have financial freedom and such. But going from 100 million to $1 billion, I have a feeling that difference in life is not there's not a big spread in the enjoyment and the satisfaction that you get out of life.
I mean, you're at a certain point, you can go wherever you want, do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter to you, but it's a game. Like, it's the fun of the game. And it's a score. It's a way to keep score.
Sure. I mean, you and I, we're going to Sweden. We just booked a trip to Sweden in September. We're going to get there. And what are we going to do the whole time we're sitting in Sweden?
Talk about deals.
We're going to talk about deals. And that proves it right there. That proves who we are. Like, we're not doing deals so we can go on a trip to Sweden. We just happen to have the money and the freedom to be able to go to Sweden, which is awesome. But when we get there, we're going to talk about freaking deals because we're deal junkies. That's what we do. Yeah. Maybe we'll buy an apartment complex in Sweden.
A ski resort.
Like an ice hotel. What question started this conversation? Is it deal too small?
Is a deal too small? Yeah. And then I asked you about the thing, your comment about dream versus reality. You dove in time frames. But what I heard from you is it is our duty to be to you what you were to Paul. So we have to make you a billionaire because it sounds like you're not going to do it for yourself. So you're welcome.
I might, but you're going to help me along the way, and you're going to have other people that help you.
Yeah.
And they're going to have other people that help them.
Yeah. Duty's not a good word, but I'd say this, like, I kind of teared up for a second. I go back to our coffee shop when I teared up in the coffee shop talking to you guys because you were literally that invigoration I needed in my life. Was it last summer, whatever it was, that just sparked energy that I hadn't had in a while. Just like you done with Gabe and Gabe had done with Paul. It's amazing. And that's that exponential factor. So don't yeah. Anyways,
it warmed my heart when that happened. By the way,
did it?
And we left, and I was
that the watering of the podcast?
And I was talking to Trevor, and I was like, I think he's like really. And Trevor was like, his eyes started watering.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he was like pretty close to.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he sees like us and him, or like.
Yeah. And then I had imposter syndrome. I'm like, did I show up too many emotions? They don't even want to talk.
No, and I was like, that was great. And Trevor was like, I don't think he was about to start crying.
No, I was.
I was like,
I was scared up.
What?
Yeah.
One day us old farts will be gone, and when we are, you won't sit around and talk about what our net worth was the day we died.
Yeah.
You'll sit and talk about the lessons that you learned while we sat on this podcast, and we shared, we shared these golden moments together.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
They're going to be at my funeral.
Trevor's a very sentimental
person. Tearing up, though.
No, Trevor's going to be going, I wonder how we can buy all of Mike's real estate.
Did we get a spot in his will? Who's the trustee?
Do you guys know his probate attorney?
Is he creative?
You think my shit's going to probate? Come on, man.
That's tough. Where were you going with that, Trevor?
I wasn't going anywhere else with that.
I'm delegating this one. I got a podcast guest, so it was your job to have a backup plan.
No, I have. And then I have our last topic here. We have a good amount of time for it.
Oh, yeah.
Since money doesn't matter, let's talk about how can we make $1 million?
Easy.
So
in how long?
I want to do this in a year. I don't know if I should do this. That's why I want to run it by you. But this is something I thought through just going through the books and reading books and learning about business. So I think $1 million is just a good round number to hit. Makes sense. I don't know. It helps us buy more deals.
Is this in net cash sitting in your bank account or gross?
It just I'm talking rough numbers, so not exact.
He's a visionary. He doesn't get stuck with details. Oh, fuck,
roughly $1 million.
Wait, I want to ask why. Why do you want to make $1 million? What's $1 million for?
To buy more deals.
Why do you need $1 million to buy more?
Just go raise $1 million of capital.
I think we can do more deals, better deals, bigger deals if we accomplish that, and then it accomplishes my dream of making you a billionaire by doing so. So you're welcome.
That's your dream, Trevor's dream.
I'm trying to live for others selfishly.
He's projecting a dream onto you, so he's no longer selfish.
He wants free flights.
That math doesn't math well.
I am doing this for Gabe.
He wants free flights on the purple SMI jet.
Are you tracking that math?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing it for you, so I can do it for me. Hey, this is an AA meeting, by the way. This is all this. This is all this
I'll join you guys next month.
You can't keep it unless you give it away. So you.
He's already cheated that system.
You do it selfishly, but you do come and you give of yourself, and then it all comes back to you.
Okay, perfect.
You think you're gonna make the PJ magenta?
Oh, no. I'm colorblind.
Oh, T-Mobile has magenta status, and it just tells me I'm around SMI every day. Either I'm seeing an SMI magenta sign, or I get a text from T-Mobile saying I'm magenta status. I'm like, yes, I know I moved into South Salem. I am now magenta status.
Did you move?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I didn't know. We'll talk about that later.
And just for the record, they're purple. They're not magenta.
No, they are purple.
Magenta.
They are purple. They're totally purple, but I'm colorblind,
I don't
so
know
it's officially magenta for the.
For the record, for the listeners, 3 of the 4 hosts, I'll let you guess which 3 are colorblind. That's true.
And work for SMI.
It's you 3. It's Trevor's too.
What color is Rarebird? What color is your logo?
Dude,
yellow?
It was this cool blue, and then it changed to orange. Let's not get in that.
Okay.
Please don't start that conversation.
Multiple.
I'm so glad this is buried 52 minutes into our episode. So please don't ask me that question live if anyone gets to 52 minutes into this episode.
Okay. Anyway,
million. How are you gonna make $1 million? So you're gonna make $1 million.
No.
So
This
you
is
can make
a plan.
$1 billion.
Yes, that's the high level of it. But
so once you make it, you're gonna loan it to me so I can go buy deals. Is what you're saying?
Sure, whatever you want to tell yourself. So why we're doing this? So me and Dane run on EOS. We've talked about it before. Mike, you'll like this. You come up with the roadmap of what you're actually trying to accomplish.
EOS,
Employee Operating System, from the
Entrepreneur Operating System.
Entrepreneur Operating System from this book called Traction. It just tells you how to run a business, things to think about, things to do. We ran on that book. It's helped us a ton. We're a year in, basically. We've built systems, done all this stuff. In that book, you have to lay out like your profit goals and what you're doing, which we did. Problem we made is we didn't come up with an actual plan to do it.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That
most people get to that point and stop.
Yeah, and then we realized we didn't make a plan. So how are we going to accomplish that if we don't know what steps to take and what to do? So I've been trying for this year, because we're coming on year 2, we actually almost, just by writing it down, it helped. Like, we got close. So this year, but I'm trying to hit our year 2 target, and I'm trying to come up with a plan of how to do it. And we have 1 year to do it. And I think the best way to do it is through brokering residential real estate. And I know you tell us don't do that and do commercial, but I think to do it within the year in the current market, this is the best way to do it. And I think we do it by going to 3 separate markets And I think we can achieve 5 to 6 deals on average per month in each market. And I think the only way for us to make that amount of money is through within a year is through residential real estate. And I think we've built up the systems over the last year to where that's an actual realistic thing to go do. And we can employ the people and do the things needed.
Well, you owe Mike $5 because I'll approve of your plan.
And I would just say the only thing I disagree with any of that was you threw in a statement the only way to make $1 million.
So not the only way.
The best way, the most efficient way for you to.
I think it's
within the year.
Within 1 year, rather than, because I think we could go do it elsewhere. We could do it a lot of different ways. There's dozens of ways we could do it, but we'd have to go change what we're currently doing, learn new skills, get new people, do new things to where it delays the time frame, and then we're not making money for so long, and it's a delayed investment.
And that's why I knew Gabe would get it, is because you just figured out how to stack your value and you scaled your value.
This is what Trevor's doing. I'm running a plumbing company. I got my CCB yesterday.
You're the plumber.
Yeah.
Mine expired at the wrong fucking time.
CCB. Really?
Shit. I got an OSHA complaint. The 1 week my license expired.
You own a plumbing company too?
Yeah, you own a plumbing company?
No, he's just
my developer.
Oh,
CCB.
Do you need to use our CCB?
Yeah, you can run it through us.
Too late, man.
Oh.
Too late.
We've got a really cool CCB number too. Yeah. It's got 007 in it.
Yeah. Then you think, because then thinking down the road, you think we should be doing more commercial deals. I don't know how to do that and systematize it, because I'm trying to think in systems.
Well, so you're an efficiency guy, and I think I might be too, but I see the world through a different lens than you do. To me, efficiency is I want to make $1 million brokering. I'm going to go find a deal I can make $1 million fee on. I'm going to do one deal. I'm going to make $1 million. Now, that sounds hard to do, but it's possible. There are $1 million fees out there. Now, maybe you can't get there. Maybe you got to do 2 deals or 4 deals or 8 deals or 10 deals.
Or maybe you have to have 10 years of experience to get into that type of deal.
Well, possibly. It really only takes about 3 or 4 years to become an apartment broker. Then the question is are there going to be any deals happening? And over the last 2 years, there haven't been any deals happening. So, I mean, I've gotten to a stage in my career where I can do what you're talking about relatively easily, because I'll just broker a few big deals every year and I can make good money doing it. And I think that you guys could do the same thing. But you guys like to work and you like to build systems and you like to think and you like to do all this stuff. It sounds like a lot of work to me that I'm just too lazy for. I wouldn't personally want to do it just because I feel like it sounds like a lot of work. But you guys have built a brand under yourselves. You're Vesta now. You're building a team and you're building the systems in place to go out and broker. And I will say this, as I was studying our pipelines yesterday, and our residential pipeline has grown over 300% in the last 30 days. And so residential, our commercial's picking up as well, but it was really picking up a couple of months ago and residential was kind of flat. And just in the last 4 to 6 weeks, it's spring, but everyone was a little worried about, well, rates are still high and there's not a lot of inventory and this and that. But I think that residential is coming back and I think there's a pinned up demand. And so my bigger concern would be you build out all the system, you do all this effort, you make your $1 million, which I think is easy to do. And then what happens the year after that? Because now when you say now it's time to make 2 million, do you want to stay in that model, or now you go like, well, we should have done what Gabe said and go broker bigger deals?
So I don't need any of Dane's time to do this, like 0 time from Dane.
I am doing what you're
So
suggesting.
We want him to do that at the same time. That's a long
commercial. So
yeah.
You guys are like Hannah and Jordan are a couple on our team, and one does commercial and one does residential, and I think that's a great model to have.
Call us a couple.
Well, you guys are kind of.
I would say you wouldn't even have to do it.
Dudes.
So there's value in that. And I don't want to discount that. I would say this because it's timing. Residential, again, commercial mindset, residential mindset. Commercial is a relationship mindset, and it takes time to build relationships. And then those relationships, because they're not emotional, they're economical, they stop. Whereas the residential market never fully ever stops, and it's very transactional. So what you want to do, your business model works really, really well in the residential world. You can do it fast because it's purely marketing, it's transactional, it's getting the right team members in those right markets, and you can broker a lot of deals. You cannot do that in the commercial world.
Yeah. So I think we're going to have a more targeted plan with that, and we can do the same thing, but it's a longer term play. And I think the skills though that I get to learn from doing what I'm doing here, where it's working with team members, building systems and all this, gets to apply to not that commercial stuff, but to buying deals at scale later on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I love what you guys are doing. And to be honest, I always look at everything from the personal level and your personalities, just because of who you are. Mm-hmm. Dane is a more relational broker and Trevor's more of a transactional broker. Mm-hmm. I know that you may not see that, but okay, you guys do see
Oh, we know. Yeah.
So
that's why he gives me his commercial clips.
I was never going to, I wouldn't tear up if Dane weren't here.
Yeah, it's embarrassing to cry around a robot, isn't it?
It's
like, why'd that robot bring me to tears?
You can't do it. Sorry.
Trevor GPT. We love you, Trevor, even though you're not human.
Even though you don't love us back.
I love all you guys.
He loves me. He wants to make me a billionaire.
That's true.
Because he read that you're supposed to help somebody else.
He just knows your attorney really well.
He heard my favorite Zig Ziglar quote and then remanufactured it and packaged it in a way that served him, like a good engineer does.
Oh, what would we do without you, Trevor?
Where are we? Oh, relational versus transactional. No, we do. I think that's why, that's exactly why we're doing it the way that we're doing it. Was because he realized that he couldn't talk to somebody for 2 years.
I could.
Without a transaction in sight.
I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Dane wants to talk to the old lady for the next 5 years about her grandkids.
Yeah.
And I don't
That's how I am.
I have way too much fun with it.
I was on Aaron Van Cleve's podcast a few months ago, and that's the one thing he put up on the on his Facebook page is when I say that, if you answer the phone and you'll talk to me, we're going to be on the phone for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, we're going to go to coffee, and then we're going to go to lunch. And if we ever do a deal, I don't really care.
We're just going to be friends.
We're going to be friends because I don't want to do deals with people that aren't my friends.
Like. Yeah,
that's it. Like
Trevor, I have the very same camera angle of that clip, by the way.
Trevor wants to do deals, and that's cool. I mean, for those that want to do transactional brokerage, I think that there's a lot of money to be made. I think that transactional brokers probably make more money and have more success. I think they probably have less.
It's fucking boring.
They have less fun.
Yeah,
you're making it sound. So we still make friends with all these people.
They have fun and they act like they have fun, but they don't truly have fun.
So you're saying you have fun. You're a transactional broker. You still have fun.
No, it is transactional, yes, because we have a goal in mind, and I am there to be efficient, help you in the best way possible. But we're making friends and having fun along the way. Like these people become my friends, like that I'm doing deals with still. But I think, that
was really convincing.
It is.
No, we are friends.
We are friends, right?
I put it in the addendum and they sign it.
Tell me what it means to make friends. What is a friend to you? To be a friend, to have a friend. What does that mean?
You got to talk deals.
So
it's true.
Like
having a pulse doesn't matter. You talk deals.
Is this like you guys hang out? You have good rapport?
Okay, so there's levels of friends.
Okay.
Which level are we talking about here, friends?
Well, I'm talking about you know them well enough to where you could go out and have dinner with them or go on a trip with them or do something like that.
Not be awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. There's so many agents that do not want to go out to dinner with their clients.
Oh, most of the people we're doing deals with, they want to do what we're doing. So like they want to improve their lives. Yeah. They want to do better at life. They want to do all these things.
And that's what I was going to actually say. Because of the style and the way you're doing it, you attract a different client, and that creates a different relationship.
We're just attracting a bunch of people similar to us.
But how do you, when you're talking 6 markets and you're going to do that many deals, how do you make
3 markets?
I don't know how you can make friends. To me, a friend is a relationship and it takes work on both sides. Mm-hmm. And I don't have enough time in the day to have a relationship.
Yeah, but you're going to have...
So I think it will shift from how we're doing it now a little bit to more of an advisor role, and it's more straightforward.
But then you don't even really have connection with your client anymore. Now you've passed this off to your team, and you rise to the surface and you've got your top 5 clients that you talk to, and they talk to everybody else. And this is why I was taught when I got into brokerage, I had to find my 5. That was the goal. I had to find my 5 clients, and I did it with 1. But, that felt easier to find 1.
You're such a shortcutter.
That's Paul. He'll be on the show. It'll be a fun show. But I mean, what do you...
Wait, I shouldn't say that. You went how long without doing a deal? Jeez.
3 years.
What?
Before you bought your first deal.
Oh, before I bought my first one?
When you started thinking about it.
Well, when I became a broker, it took me 3 years.
Yeah.
I was looking for a deal and being a broker for 3 years before I bought my first deal.
Commercial. He focused on commercial.
Yeah.
But I like your idea, and I think you guys are. I think first off, I'm going to say that I think $1 million is selling yourself short.
So that's within 1 year.
I know. I still think you're selling yourself short.
Okay.
I will say this,
but it's still a side gig.
Okay, two.
But
2.5.
I'm thinking too small.
Let's make this clear though. This is a side gig to acquiring real estate to make Gabe a billionaire.
It means to an end.
This is all for Gabe.
He is our end.
I mean, he gets a cut of that too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. He would make.
Gabe gets.
That's why I approved. They already made me $5.
Right.
Pay my.
I have to take control. Gabe did this. He tried to sidetrack me with some economics. I didn't let him, but can we talk economics?
Oh yeah, let's end this one and we'll dive.
We'll end this episode. We'll come back. By the way, just to remind everybody, this is all bullshit. We don't do anything we say on this podcast. We hope you enjoy it. It is for entertainment purposes only. We'll see you next time. We are the Deal Junkies.